All right, Josh, before we get to the guns, why don't you tell us about yourself?
All right, so a little bit about myself. Been with the company for 6 years. Came on as the GM for the company, and my background has been predominantly law enforcement and military. I spent 13 years as a law enforcement officer in the state of Georgia, and I've got 17 years in the Army, and a lot of those lessons learned and some of the techniques that I've seen be successful in the firearms industry, I'm bringing that knowledge to the company to help make a better product.
Well, that explains why you guys got such cool products.
Yeah.
Why don't we just get into it then?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Let's do
This is
it.
going to be awesome.
Welcome to Class Firearms, guys. Kaya over here, and I've got Josh from US Arms Co. Josh,
Hey,
welcome,
man.
dude.
It's good to see you,
Yeah,
buddy.
good seeing you. Good having you over here. Josh is from US Arms Co. Me and you guys met like a while back. What was it, like a year and a half ago at
Yeah.
Surviving Man?
Yeah, it's been about a year and a half ago. Time's flown, you know.
Exactly. It's been a while, and when I saw Josh and the crew, obviously, and their products, I didn't know anything about US Arms Co. And I just saw, oh my God, really cool looking rifles, all kinds of stuff, and really cool guys. I was like, man, let me check it out. And we got to meet, and we became friends. And next thing you know, Josh is visiting me here at Classic Firearms, of course. And as you guys see, I've got this beautiful piece in front of me. Josh, before we even get here, I want to talk about US Arms Co. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know, when I first met you, I didn't know anything about US Arms Co. I'm sure we got some folks over here, they don't know anything about it. You want to tell us about the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So U.S. Arms Co. Started originally as a airline parts manufacturing company. And in the airline business, when you're making parts for Boeing, you know, Embraer, Gulfstream, whoever, the precision that part has to be made to could be inside of 5,000ths of an inch.
So you guys make parts for Boeing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So you know, that level of precision and the machinery, the 4 and 5 axis CNC machines that we have, we had the ability and the wherewithal, because there's a lot of shooters inside the company that were like, hey man, we can really do something here. You know, when we take a look at the firearms market, we're like, man, we can make that better. And so we took the idea and said, you know what, we're going forth with it. We're going to take the precision of the airline industry and build it into a weapons company.
And the quality too, because you really can't cut corners when you're making parts for Boeing.
Absolutely
obviously.
not. The plane can't afford to fail, you know, in the air. It's kind of a big deal. So that level of precision, we got together and we were like, hey, this is the route we're going to go. We started building the designs of how we wanted the rifles to look. You know, we stood by our motto with some of the experience that we have in-house of being lightweight, accurate, and durable to be the foundation of every weapon system that we build. And this is no different for the Osreal PRS model that you see here. And so even though we're a young company in the firearms, we're about 8 years old, and we're right there located in Macon, Georgia. So even though we're a young company, we've been in the airline business for decades.
Okay.
And so we've been around a while, but a lot of people when they hear U.S. Arms Company are like, man, are you guys the old company from like 50 years ago? And it's like, no, we're a new company.
You know, it's so funny that you are such a young company, but when I tried out your weapon systems, it does feel like you've been making guns for 50 years. I mean, there's just solid, really, really solid machines. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you. And so, you know, like some of the things that we look at, like obviously if you're going to build a high-end rifle, whether it be semi-automatic or a bolt gun, that rifle needs to shoot. You know, and one of the old foundations is my rifle needs to be able to print really small groups at 100 yards, which is the baseline for any weapon system that you look at.
Yeah.
And so when we took a look at the machining process, we started building that foundation of precision on our machining concepts and principles of like on a bolt action or a gas gun. And so in applying that, and you know, trial and error is everything, and that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is in the manufacturing process, you're going to fail. And when you fail, you go back to the drawing board and you figure out where you failed and how to make it better. And that's one of the things that we've been really receptive about. And I think one of the reasons why we grow the way we have is that when somebody comes back to us and goes, hey man, I like the rifle, however, it didn't do this. And we're not going to sit there and be quote unquote offended. Yeah, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. Like, we legitimately want that feedback. And I had a conversation with a guy years ago. We had built a 300 Blackout, and the gas system that we wanted to use, which was a carbine length gas system on a 300 Blackout, which is essentially long for that carbine system. Yeah. We had to downgrade the spring pressure so that we could get reliable cycling. And the guy called us, and I literally said to him, I was like, hey man, you know what? Sorry it happened. We're going to make sure this works for you 100% of the time, but I'm so glad it happened because it makes us better.
Yep.
And that was several years ago. So that's kind of been our motto as far as like customer service and the way forward.
That is phenomenal. And obviously, we're going to get to gas guns, and I know because that's what I saw first, which we're going to get to in a minute. And that's my world, because I really don't know almost anything about bolt guns. And I'm not embarrassed to admit it, because I'm here to learn, right?
100%. So every day's the day.
And yes, and you're obviously a big-time gun guy, and you are basically a sniper. You are a precision shooter, and you guys came up with this. Did you have any input on designing this thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, again, me and the boys, we got together. When the bolt line came out, we said, hey, look, again, this thing has to shoot. It has to be lightweight. It has to be a durable rifle. You know, things happen. You follow, right? If you drop your weapon system, is it going to break? And when I picked that rifle back up from an accident or whatever, will it still hold at zero? Yeah. And so everything from the durability of the weapon system, the weight of the weapon system, because anybody who's been in the Army and has carried a Barrett, right? You guys know it's a 28-pound rifle.
I've carried a Barrett, not in the Army.
It's not what you want, and it's not something that is sustainable over a long period of time. Whether you're, and even if you like this model right here, it's a PRS rifle. You're not going far with the rifle. Yeah. However, being able to run and move in between positions and barricades, that the weight of the weapon system is a big deal.
This is light, man.
It's not heavy.
Yeah, very light.
It's probably, I think this one's probably around 11.2 pounds, something like that. But sans optic, of course.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, and then when you get into the accuracy, like the gunsmithing portion of this particular weapon system, it has to zero out. Like we want the run out on the barrel and the center of bore to be zero, so that the shoulder of the barrel and the shoulder of the receiver or the lug, the recoil lug on this one, has to be square. And so that way you don't get any stringing shots as the gun heats up.
Gotcha. And this gun is brand new, right? Brand new, which we're going to obviously showcase at our bolt gun series.
Yep.
Do you want to just go over full specs on this?
Absolutely.
So people know.
So I'm going to start at the front here. Yep. In this particular setup, we had a couple of companies kind of collaborate with us. One was X2 DevGru. As you take a look at the Orion suppressor here on the front, 6.5 titanium suppressor from X2 DevGru. I'm going to go ahead and go to the optic. This one was, when we had a conversation with EOTech, this is the EOTech Voodoo. It has an H59 reticle, which is one of my favorites. It's a 5-25 magnification with a 34 millimeter tube. 100% would recommend the suppressor and the scope. The H59 reticle is kind of the staple for long range precision. You know, guys used to, back in the days, they would dial, you know, I've got a 600 yard target, dial 15 minutes. Can't check parallax, quarter the target, right? And with the H59, I don't have to touch anything. I can just hold over 4.5 mils and let it ride. So my time to engage that target is decreased significantly.
Yeah.
And then when we take a look at the stock, this one is done by MDT. This one right here, excuse me, let me recant that. MDT now does this stock, but this particular stock right here is an original J. Allen stock, which those of you who have been in the industry for a while, you guys know that J. Allen doesn't exist anymore. And we had in inventory several J. Allen stocks that people desire.
This is the top of the line too. I was looking at your website and all the MDT and everything.
Yeah.
This is literally the very top product when it comes to the receiver.
Yeah, and this thing shoots lights out.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that again, going back to the Osrail bolt line, it has to shoot a half minute or better. Like that's all we'll accept.
Half minute or better.
Half minute or better. Okay. So if you can't hit a dime at 100.
It's you, not the gun. It's you.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, or the ammo. Yeah. Like the ammunition is a big deal too. Yeah. But this particular chassis right here is an original J. Allen. And so going forward and looking at the barrel, we're running a 1-in-7 416R match grade barrel on a number 6 contour, I believe it is. It's either a 6 or a 5, but that contour is to give rigidity and good strength on that barrel. So it's not a what they would call an old MTU like the old Marine Corps 24-inch. It's like 920 thousandths at the muzzle, which the barrel weighed 5 pounds.
Yeah.
So again, we had to take a look at the contour and like, how do we get strength out of this and a decreased weight? So we went with that particular contour on this model here. And then at the bottom, we take a look at the bipod. This is a Airlight or Featherlight bipod from MDT. Awesome bipod, fully adjustable. You can kick the legs in, out, forwards, backwards, and it's rock solid. And it mounts to the Arca rail, which goes from almost the magazine well all the way out front. So you can adjust this in different positions to set up a good firing point and make an accurate shot. And as we come back, we take a look at the magazines. There's 10-round AICS box magazines, metal. These are MDT also, that are going to come with the rifle. Yeah. And last but not least, the trigger is going to be a TriggerTech trigger. And so it's the this one here is the Diamond model.
Okay. Oh, trigger's phenomenal, by the way. I did shoot this thing.
Yep.
Just because I had to, right? And just phenomenal. Like, it's just just perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so everything that we've put into this is kind of our heart and soul. And then obviously we take a look at the look of the rifle, right? And we thank the guys at Weapon Works for doing this alpine dark camo color for us, and then the FDE accents in between. And man, this thing is
insane.
It's insane. So
because it's what was it? The barrel's black. Obviously, the chassis is what?
The chassis was FDE. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Well, I mean, in that configuration is phenomenal to a very, very attractive gun.
Right.
But this is right here. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And so this rifle right here that you're taking a look at is an exact replica, so to speak, outside of the scope. The couple of things. But we took a PRS Osreel and our law enforcement Osreel out to SHOT Show this year. Yeah. And we had 9 different shooters. One, the law enforcement was obviously chambered in .308 because that's the common caliber for law enforcement. And then the other was in 6.5 Creedmoor. Those 2 rifles with 9 different shooters gained hits at a mile. Yeah. And so, you know,
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
Insane.
And we had one guy come up, he just couldn't believe it. And I was like, hey man, you know, I saw the splash, the first round hit, I think it was like 0.3 mil off to the right and a 0.5 mil low. Gave him a correction, second round hit.
Wow.
Because, you know, there's different factors. You know, you've got Coriolis, you got spin drift. I think the spin drift at that for that 6.5 was like 2 mils. So we had to correct 2 mils just to get the bullet back in the target because of the spin of the bullet. And so, you know, as far as accuracy,
this is, I mean, obviously phenomenal, and you and I have been talking about this for quite some time now.
Yep.
And have you done any competition with this?
So not this rifle yet. We've done several competitions or competed in several competitions with our champion gas guns and our pros, and we've done really well. Yeah. We had one gentleman who won a Utah Pro at the Snipers Unknown Challenge, and he took our stock Utah Pro and went out and won.
Stock gun against
all those stock gun against decked out guns, and he went out and won a DMR sniper competition. It was like a month and a half later, and he was like, "Hey man, great job, thanks for the awesome rifle." And we were like, "Hey man, you just keep killing it."
We're about to talk about the gas guns too, which I'm really excited about. The Champion, and I think I've got it over here, which I'll pop up in a second. But this one is I'm very excited about. Guys, stay tuned for our Bolt Gun series, which is coming up very, very soon. Me, Ryan, Clint, and Matt, we're going to go against each other. I will be utilizing the Ezrail, so you got to train me so I can beat Ryan and all those guys. But yeah, it's going to be an awesome series. Definitely stay tuned. This is going to be with us. And then go to cfcontest.com because you may see some cool stuff there. I don't know. cfcontest.com. But yeah, that's about it, man. So I'm going to move on.
Okay.
So I feel like you've gave us pretty good information about this. I'm going to move on to the stuff that I'm actually somewhat familiar with. The
Okay.
gas guns.
The gas
Is that
guns.
good?
Yeah, 100%, man.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's just put this aside and bring the gas gun. All right. So we've got this thing over here. This is a champion.
Yep.
U.S. Arms Co. champion.
Yep.
Sniper Unknown.
Snipers
winner.
Unknown.
What was that Utah challenge you were talking about?
So we competed with this one in the Snipers Unknown Challenge. I was basically the primary spotter.
Okay.
So in most military style sniper operations, your spotter will carry a semi-automatic weapon system, and the sniper carries a primary system of a bolt gun.
Okay.
So in this one, I carried this. I was just a little bit better at reading the wind than my shooter.
Okay.
And so I was like, "Hey, look, you take the primary. I'll call wind for you, and we'll continue forward."
Well, okay. So that's pretty cool. This is the gas operated U.S. Arms Co. champion. AR-15
It's AR-15 platform. Yep.
right? But this is all you guys. You guys got your own R&D team. You guys design your own things. Like I know this brake, for example, is completely your design.
100%. Yep.
And
it's patented. We have a patent for it.
Yep.
And it's the M905 Talon muzzle brake.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it, man. Yeah.
All right. So the muzzle brake, if I had a cross section for you, again, what we were talking about before,
Yeah.
we actually started in the airline industry. So when we take a look at the fans of a jet turbine, the fans are designed in such a way that it's able to utilize flowing air more efficiently. And so when we took a look at that, it was like, hey, well, we can utilize that in a brake, because if you look at most brakes, LaRue and all the others, they have a flat wall design. And yes, it does direct the gas, but it doesn't hang on to it long enough. And when we look at turbine fans, they actually grasp hold of the air for a longer period of time, actually grabbing hold of the atmosphere and moving it in a better, more efficient mechanical manner. And so we know that when we build gas up in a chamber, it starts, flowing like water, kind of so to speak,
Yeah.
like Bruce Lee, right? It's going to flow like water, but you can also capture it. And when you take a look at this, the way this brake is designed, the inside radius is a quick radius, which allows the gas to run swiftly over the wall of it. And then the leading edge radius is a longer, more bulged out radius, which actually traps it and hangs it in the chamber a little bit longer. And when you take a look at the actual mechanics of how it grabs hold of the exiting gas, so once the bullet leaves the muzzle,
Yeah.
all of this gas kind of gets bound up in those chambers, and it wants to start rotating backwards and blasting out. And when you take a look at the degree, it's a 60-degree throw on the exiting muzzle gases,
I
right?
see it.
And they're
4
vectored.
ports? Yeah, there's 4 ports.
Yep, there's 4 ports on each side, and they're vectored down. So if you've ever watched a jet close its that vectoring nozzle at the back of it, so it's using the same amount of thrust, right? But what they're doing is they cone it down to take the same amount of fuel to get more mechanical advantage on that aircraft to pick up speed. And so what we did here is we used the same vectoring technology to take the same amount of gas that we're going to get, because you're only going to get so much.
Yeah.
So we vectored it down to get a better mechanical advantage out of this brake, and you won't see that anywhere else on the market.
Dude, I'm super, based on what you just said, because I haven't fired this weapon system. I've fired the Azrael, but not this. And I'm gonna today, tomorrow, whenever, soon, I'm gonna do it. I'm really curious to see how this mitigates felt recoil. I have a feeling, because I do have a brake on my personal AR, and it's nothing this complicated, and it does a pretty good job. So I'm assuming this is going to feel like a BB gun.
Yeah, so you can shoot this thing on a full auto platform, one-handed, and it'll sit still. We've done it. We've got a 10.5 inch that
Did
we
you guys
just
bring one?
I don't know. We'll have to check. I don't want to call it just yet, but
All right.
Maybe.
Right.
But
Wow.
we've done it several times at the shop. We wanted to see the effectiveness of it, and when we set up our test, the control of what an AR-15 recoil would look like with a standard round, what we saw was a 94% reduction in recoil across all.
Wait, through a flash hider, like a good old mil-spec compensator.
Exactly.
Flash hider?
So
94%.
94% from the standard barrel to the 905 brake. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, I really want to shut this video down right now and just go actually shoot it. I mean it. I sincerely mean it. I want to check this thing out. But that's phenomenal. Okay, yeah, cool. Moving on.
All right. So on this particular model, this is a champion. This is a Generation 2 champion. on the Champions, we run a match grade chamber in 223 Wild. The cool thing about the Champion is that the chamber is specifically cut for that bolt. So a lot of times in the industry, we'll take a minimum and maximum, right? So Sammy spec is 7 thousandths of an inch, minimum to maximum. So within that window, you have to be somewhere in that 7 thousandths of an inch window to be like a safe chamber, or considered a safe chamber. And you can even go up to 10 thousandths out, which would keep you inside of what's called a field gauge, and that's still safe also. However, your accuracy starts to degrade. We try to keep ours within 3 thousandths. Yeah.
Wow.
And so when you get a Gen 2 Champion, you're purchasing a literal precision chamber that is cut to that bolt that's in that particular weapon system. And so the goal that we look for, or the rubric test that we look for accuracy out of a Gen 2 Champion, is a half minute or better.
It's like the Azrael, right?
Like the Azrael.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, if you say that this is your best, show me. And that's kind of where we want it to lay.
I mean, it's impressive because, you know, when you talk about some of the mil-spec stuff, we get like 3 MOAs and we go half minute or better. Wow. I mean, I'm seriously stunned. Like guys, I've known US Arms Co. guys for a while now. We've been friends for quite some time, but I really am hearing some of this stuff for the first time now.
Awesome.
Like it's phenomenal. Besides an awesome looking rifle, looking forward to checking that out too.
Yep.
In this handguard.
Yep.
This is you guys designed this.
This is our design. This is our design, and if you take a look at the way it's designed, there's a lot of lightning cuts to where we've removed material to drop the weight even more, but still give it structural stability. Like you can be rough with it, and it's going to shoot just fine. And as we take a look at this, is 6061 aluminum, and then we come back to the upper and lower receiver. Those are 7075 billet. Okay. And one thing special about the Champion on this one, you can take a look here. I'll point with this small screwdriver, is that we have Camlock system, which is also a patent of ours.
Because nobody else have that. I know I haven't seen anywhere else.
Nobody else has it. And you know, some people we've run across, you know, some people like, oh man, that's snake oil. You know, I think it's more of the fact that they wish they had thought of it first.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, you're going to get that. But what we have seen over the testing, so in an AR-15, your center to center, your pivot pin to your takedown pin, dead up center in the machining world is 6-inch, 250 thousandths of an inch. And so your standard upper and lower receiver has about 8 thousandths of play. Everybody's grabbed a hold of an AR-15, and that
there's a little play for sure.
There's a little play. Yeah. If you have 8 thousandths of an inch of play between your pivot and takedown pin and that torsion, you're looking at a inherent error of 3.8 minutes of angle. Yeah. So you could have the best barrel, the best bolt carrier group, all of the top items that you could possibly put in it, and the play between the upper and lower is still 3.8 minutes. Yeah. And so you've seen a lot of guys that shoot competitively, and they're like, man, I've got the best barrel, I've got the best everything in here, but somehow I put a shot over here in the 8 ring. I don't understand how that happened. Yeah. And a lot of it is from torsion of either that round had a little bit more pressure behind it, it was loaded a little hotter, and it engaged that barrel, and it caused the barrel to pitch and yaw. And so in the Champion with Camlock, we've essentially done a mechanical bedding job between the upper and lower receiver, between the flat and this radius here in the rear, that the upper receiver is not allowed to go into a motion of torsion. And so so like a bolt gun rifle, right? Yeah. If we were going to take any bolt gun rifle and make it more accurate, we would bed it to keep the receiver from shifting on the shot, right? Yeah. Or allowing to torque one way or another. And that's essentially what we've done here, but we've done it mechanically instead of with like Marine Tex or any kind of glass bedding compound.
So Josh, you talked about this Camlock. This thing brings it together, right?
That's correct.
Puts it apart.
Yep. So the thing that makes Camlock unique is, unlike an AccuWedge, which pushes the upper receiver away from the lower receiver where the takedown trunnion is at, it actually pulls the upper and lower receiver together mechanically, and it locks those two receivers together in the flat and in the radius. And therefore it brings that upper and lower receiver into a tighter unity, so to speak, and it keeps the rifle from pitching or yawing.
Super cool, man. And on top of that, I know you talked about torquing your barrel nut.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do it a little different. I guess we got to be a little different. But a lot of the industry standard is somewhere around 35, 42 foot-pounds. You can go higher or lower, but I think if I remember correctly, the industry minimum is 35 foot-pounds for the torque spec on a barrel nut. We torque ours at 100. And one of the reasons why you're over there giggling and you're making me laugh. One of the reasons why we do that is that if you take a look at the handguard setup, it's fully free-floated.
Yeah.
It's fully free-floated. And so we go back to the durable portion, right, of the rifle system. I want you to have this rifle till you shoot the barrel out and you never had an issue with it. Okay? So if everything's hinging on the barrel nut, the accuracy of the barrel, the stability of this handguard, the ability for the gas tube to float freely on each cycle or round fired through that weapon system, it all hinges on the torque spec of the barrel nut. And so what we'll do is we've torqued it more, and we've gotten a better seat, and we've seen the groups just remain in the same spot, shot after shot after shot. You can take that rifle, set it up, 3 months later come back, and that thing hasn't shifted anywhere. It's in the same spot. And that's from good optics, good ammo, and a good build. Right?
Dude, wow. Phenomenal. I mean, overall, I'm super impressed. Again, I got to shoot this thing and check it out myself as well. But really, U.S. Arms Co. guys, not many people have heard about it, but new 8 years in the business, but yet coming up with some cool stuff because of thanks to the experience from the aircraft industry. Yeah, wow, phenomenal.
Yep.
Well, really appreciate your time over here. Do you have anything else to add?
No, we at U.S. Arms Co. We're glad to be here with Classic Firearms. We thank you for your time.
Of course,
and man, we really look forward to shooting these with you.
Oh, we're gonna go get some lunch. Gonna shoot these things, and we're gonna do podcasts. We're gonna do a lot of things.
Absolutely,
you guys are here
man.
for a minute.
Well,
thanks, man. Thanks for having it, coming over here.
Yep.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Definitely good having these guys over here. Thanks for watching this video, and thanks for coming over here, guys.
Thanks, brother.
And we'll see you on the next video.